Hello, and welcome to another session of EdTech Tools for Sandbox Office Hours. My name is Marilyn Muma Anderson, and today we'll be talking about the communication platform Remind. At its essence, Remind is a secure messaging service to help increase communication and build stronger relationships in the classroom. There are some key features of Remind Chat. The messaging works as an SMS push, text, or email. This communication, just like with traditional text messaging, is two-way communication. So instructors can text or communicate with students and vice versa. But all of your personal information is kept secure. Remind allows for instant communication as you would with traditional texting or emailing without having to give out your personal information to students. You can connect to Remind via the web, or you can also use the handy iOS and Android mobile apps. With Remind, you're able to send group messages. Up to 9 students can be in each group message with the free version. You can send out individual messages, but you can also send out documents, pictures, videos, etc., directly through the app. And it can integrate with some of your LMS systems and common programs. And there's even a translation option, which I will discuss later in this video. The Remind Chat is the free version of Remind. And with that, you can get up to 9 classes at a time. Remind Hub is the paid version of Remind. And there's some additional features that I would like to go over for you in case this might be something your program is interested in. With Remind Hub, you can integrate with school rosters. There's a secure voice calling option, which allows you to make those traditional phone calls from your cell phone without having to exchange your personal information again with students. Organizational-wide messaging options, and there's an additional LMS and virtual platform integrations that aren't available with Remind Chat. The beauty of Remind is really in its simplicity. It is really easy for students to join Remind. They can use a link, an email, but most students are going to simply send out a text message. They text the number 81010, and then in the body of the text, they write an @ with your unique class code, and they will be directly added into your Remind. And then when you send out messages, these will go directly to their cell phone as in traditional text messaging. Another benefit is that many learners who have students in the K-12 system may be already familiar with Remind. Now I want to take you through a little bit of a live demo of the Remind platform. Once you created a Remind account, you will automatically be sent to a page that looks similar to this. Under your name here, this is where you're going to access all of your account settings. Under your account settings, you're able to change your name, your password. You're also able to set your preferred language. This is really important, especially for our students where maybe English isn't their first language. They can change this setting, and this will allow them to have messages translated to them. You're able to change your role. And then if you're associated with an organization that comes up, you can do add that here. But also it's okay to not be associated with a particular school or organization. Also, this is where you would go to delete your account here if you somehow need to do that. You can change your notification preferences, right? I have mine set to email, but you can also get directly to your browser notifications, text messages sent to yourself, or also, as I said, there's the Remind mobile app that's really handy, and you can get messages sent directly there. This here allows you to receive replies to your messages, so students can reply back. But if you only wanted to use Remind for class announcements, you could disable this. There's also a place here where you can turn on your office hours. So you can set that specific time that students can contact you. And as I said earlier, Remind integrates with many different apps, including Google Classroom, your Drive. So take a look at some of these if they're apps you already use. You can also add a widget into your class website. You can either copy this code or copy the widget and add it directly into your class website. There's also a place here where you can look at all of your message history and your archived classes. You're also able to block users, for instance, if you have a student who is somehow acting inappropriately through the Remind. Now from the main page here, let's look how you would add a class in Remind. So simply you're going to go to this little tab here that says Add a Class. You can either join an existing classroom here, but most of the time you're going to be creating a new class. So from here, you're going to give your class a name. You can edit the icon. So for instance, I could give it this icon if I want, and then it's going to automatically generate that class code for you. You are able to customize that by simply typing in an additional class code that you want to use. And again, I'm not affiliated with the school, but if you did, that would generate automatically. And you can go ahead and click this box that says, I will only remind people 13 or older. That's not really an issue with our students, but with using younger students, it's a safety precaution. So now both of my classes should be generated here in my homepage. If I want to type a message to my class, I can use the message feature here. When I click new message, I can search for specific students or classes. So say I wanted to send a reminder to both my classes, I could click this and continue and type my message that way. I can attach my files by clicking this little icon down here. And again, it connects up to all those apps, and I can go ahead and add my picture or video or document. I can translate my message into 70 different languages. So for instance, if I wanted my message to be sent in Spanish, I could select that and it will automatically translate your message. And then I can also schedule, if I didn't want it to be sent out right now, if I did, I could press the send button. But say I wanted my message to be sent out later, I can schedule my message. Say I want it to come out tomorrow, and I could select the time. So for instance, maybe I want it to go out tomorrow at 7 a.m. And then I can schedule this message to be sent at that time. Now, you can do this same process if you want specific messages sent to students. So say I wanted it just to be sent to a couple students, I could select them, continue, and could send out the message that way. The other way you can send out messages is through clicking on the individual classes and clicking a new announcement down here at the bottom. And it's going to work just like that other screen did. You can still attach files, translate, or schedule. And say you wanted to go ahead and add additional classes. If you click this toolbar, I'll do it again here. If you click this toolbar, it'll take you to that same message screen where you can click on the individual classes or add additional students to your message. Now let's look at some additional ways you can use Remind in your classroom. One, maybe look at creating special groups such as study groups or tutoring. You can send out announcements to these groups, such as a reminder about lab hours. You can even do student-led groups, so students can respond to each other as in traditional text messaging in small groups. You can create weekly reminders and send out newsletters. Since you can schedule those in advance, you can even create these reminders and newsletters ahead of time and then schedule them to go out when you need them to. You can use it for special announcements and celebrations. I loved using Remind to send out photographs to my students. You can add testing coordinators and other key personnel to Remind groups in order to help with easy communication and getting students' progress tested. You can create quiz questions, have students use reactions. They can use reactions just like they would with traditional text messaging, or they can even text back their responses as a quick check-in. And Remind is a great way to boost social emotional learning and classroom community with the ability to create those personal connections to distance and in-person learners alike. This can be especially helpful in those high flex classrooms. So come join us for Sandbox Office Hours to develop your lesson activities together, or just come get a little extra support.